Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about the books that I read in August, only 3.5, but also I'm going to be talking about my fall pile of possibilities. I've come to the conclusion that I am not a TBR girl. It just feels too constricting. I'm too much of a mood reader. But I did go around looking at all of my bookshelves and picked out books that I thought would, for me, would fit the fall mood, you know, like atmospheric worlds or mystery, a few mysteries, just other random things that I felt like I would be in the mood to read in the fall. But first, we are going to go over the books that I read in August, that I completed in August. I'm drinking tea this morning because all of a sudden coffee is disgusting to me again, so that's really unfortunate and sad, but I'm glad that I at least enjoy tea. So grab yourself a drink and let's sit down and chat about books, because that's our favorite thing to do, right? Yeah, so the first book that, goodness, let me set this down. The first book that I completed in August was this Expectant by Heather Kofer. It's Cultivating a Vision for Christ-Centered Pregnancy. A friend loaned me this book to read, and I'm really glad I did because I really enjoyed it. Her writing style is very, very practical, and like the things she puts in here, the advice that she gives is very, very practical, but also very like full of wisdom, and I really appreciated most everything that she wrote in here. It really inspired me, because while I was sick, very sick, I did not open my Bible once, which is sad, but I didn't feel like reading anything over that time. But there was like, this is the one thing that really stood out to me, was like she mentioned the being sick and being exhausted through pregnancy, but still wanting to cultivate your relationship with Christ, even through the midst of all of the hardships of pregnancy and then eventually of motherhood. And the one tip she gave was like, even if you don't feel like reading, sitting down and reading, like when you're sick, or if you feel like you don't have the time, you can listen to the Bible on audio, like the audio Bible, while you're doing certain tasks, or even just laying down when you're feeling sick and just listening to the Word of God. And I was like, wow, why didn't I think of that? Because it's kind of obvious. Like, that is one thing that I could have been doing all of those times that I felt so sick, and just listening to the Word of God. So I started doing that in the mornings as like before going to work. As I'm getting ready, making my breakfast, I just have my audio Bible playing. In the mornings when I wake up before going to work, I like immediately have to get food in me so that I feel good for the day. And I'm also sleeping as long as possible so that I can get the rest that I need as well. And so in the little less than an hour I have of waking up before I have to leave for work, I don't have as much time as I used to when I would get up early to like spend time with Jesus in the mornings. And I prefer the mornings. I know that you can do it at any time of the day, but I usually prefer the mornings. So I started listening to the audiobook as I'm getting ready, making my breakfast, and then listening to worship music on the way to work. Excuse me. And I loved that. Like, it's been really great, just diving back into the Word. But I am going to be done with work next week. It is my last week of work, which I'm so ready for, honestly. I am ready to just be a stay-at-home wife and eventually mom. But yeah, I'm hoping that after next week I will have more time in the mornings, and I should have more time in the mornings then to actually sit down and read my Bible, because it is something I actually really love doing and spending that time with Jesus. But yeah, back to this book. She has so many practical little tips like that, and just great encouragement of turning our eyes to Jesus through some of the difficulties of pregnancy. She also addressed fear and anxiety in pregnancy, which is something I've dealt with a lot, because all of my other previous pregnancies ended in a loss. And so it's something that I've had to take to the cross almost daily and learn to just rest and trust that God's plans are good no matter how long I get to have this baby, whether it's I'm 18 weeks today, so whether it's 18 weeks or 50 years, however long I actually have this child with me here on earth, like his plans are good and he knows what's best, and I have to learn to rest and trust in that, even though losing another baby would be devastating again, obviously. But yeah, so far I haven't had any reasons to be concerned, like logically speaking, because so far this pregnancy has been a good one and healthy one, and baby seems to be healthy, all of that. But it's just that lingering fear because of what I've experienced in the past, like what if it happens again. So yeah, she addressed some of those things of just like taking our fears and our worries and our anxieties to Jesus because he cares about those things. So yes, if you are expecting, even if you're a mom of several children already, I think this is a good practical book to pick up and read and be encouraged by. Yeah, I think I gave it 4 stars. But yeah, that is Expectant by Heather Kofer. Let's set that there. Okay, then the next one that I finished was The Things We Didn't Say by Amy Lynn Green. Wow, I loved this book. 5 stars. We follow Joanna. She is a linguist. She's going to college to learn more about language and translating and all of that. So because of what she's been trained in and what her skills are, she is recruited to come back to her hometown where they are putting up a prisoner of war camp for German prisoner of wars in, is it Minnesota? Yes, it's Minnesota. So they are recruiting her to work at this camp as a translator for the German POWs and censoring their letters from home and the ones they're writing to people back home in Germany. And it's all written in letters or newspaper clippings or random things like that, so it is an epistolary novel. But I absolutely loved it. It was so much fun reading it. Part of this, like in the prologue, it's kind of an introduction. She's writing a letter to her attorney and sending all of these letters and newspaper clippings, everything that's included in this book, to her attorney as evidence because she is accused of treason, basically. And so we just follow that storyline through the letters and to and from multiple people. And it was so much fun. I think it takes great skill to show personality through letters because there's so many different characters in this book. I think like I understood and could see everyone's personality so distinctly, and I think Amy did a fantastic job with that, and it was just so much fun. Even if you don't enjoy epistolary novels, I think you would enjoy this one. I don't know, you can't go by my word, I guess, because I love epistolary novels, so I might be a little biased, but this one was really fun and I'm so glad I picked it up. So thank you, Chantel, for the recommendation. That's where I got the recommendation, and yeah, I really enjoyed it and I highly recommend this one. It was a lot of fun. Peter is my favorite character, I think. If you've read the book, you know, and you will know why when you read the book. So there were several lines in here that I highlighted because it was just so good. I loved it. It was great. Please read it. But that is Things We Didn't Say by Amy Lynn Green. And then the third book that I completed in August, some friends and I went up to a bookstore slash coffee shop in Colorado Springs, and it's one of our favorite places to go because it's called the Tattered Cover Bookstore, and I know that there are several locations here in Colorado. I don't know if they have other locations throughout the states, but it's a coffee shop slash bookshop, and they have, in the one in Colorado Springs, they have like an upstairs mezzanine with little sections of couches and just places to sit and chill and read and chat with friends, and I absolutely love it. I love the atmosphere there. It's fantastic. But I just grabbed this book off the shelf and sat down and read the entire thing while we were sitting there. But it is Musical Tables Poems, a collection of poems by Billy Collins. So I've really been wanting to get into poetry lately, and several videos back I had asked for some recommendations and someone commented and mentioned Billy Collins, and the second time I think when I went to that bookstore I found several books of Billy Collins and purchased those, and I really wanted to purchase this one as well because I love the cover. Okay, hello, the cow is so cute. It's adorable. But I ended up not purchasing this one, but I found it again the other day when we were there, and I just sat down and read it. Obviously it is poems, so it didn't take long to read through it, but I enjoyed it so much. I think starting with Billy Collins is a great way for me to get into poetry because his are just, they're short and sweet. Especially these in this book are very short and sweet and to the point, and he talks about it in the end of in the author's note about short little poems and their value. And I don't know, I really enjoyed this one. There were some poems that I was like, huh, what does that mean? But most of them I understood. There's also some humorous ones. I rated it 4 stars, and I just enjoyed it, and I think I eventually want to purchase this one just to have in my collection. But I'm trying not to buy too many books because I am, like, brand new books, because I am bringing home, and I have already brought home massive stacks of books because I'm leaving my work next week, and I'm bringing home all of the books that I had set aside that I wanted to purchase. So I'm trying not to buy any more new books. And after I bring all of them home, we're going on a book ban, or we're going to try to go on a book ban. So, like, these are just a few of the poems that I absolutely loved. The title is Page Turner. Page Turner. Desirable in fiction, not so much with a slim book of poems. Very short and simple and to the point, but very true. So a lot of the poems in this book are like that, just very short and to the point. Reading poetry like this, I'm like, huh, I could write poetry. And this is another one that I really enjoyed. It's called The Student. She made asterisks next to passages she liked, little stars that kept shining after she closed the book. I love that. It's beautiful. But anyway, that was the 3rd book that I completed in August. So moving on to my fall pile of possibilities. I am in the middle of The Fox and I by Catherine Raven. It is a memoir about her living in the woods in Montana. She lives in a remote cottage in the mountains of Montana, and she befriends this wild fox, and she sits outside and reads books to it and chats with it and just watches it in his life. And yeah, the title, like, and the cover are what caught my attention because I love foxes, and I thought this would be a very fascinating story of her being making friends with a wild fox. So I am in the middle of this, or over halfway through it, and I only have like just about 100 pages left, and yeah, I am enjoying it, but I will say her writing is a little bit difficult to really love. It kind of jumps all over the place, kind of hard to follow her train of thought in some places, but I am enjoying all of her nature descriptions and the different animals and the species of animals and how they came to America. So she's a former National Parks ranger, and she holds a doctorate in biology, so she knows a lot about the different animals and plants and everything. And so she does give descriptions about those and how they came to be in America and like where things would have migrated from. Random things like that I find interesting because I love nature and I love animals. And I think it would be really fun to be able to have own property like that where you can just go to this remote place and live in a cottage. I don't know if I could do it year round, but you know, just a remote place to go and just watch the wildlife around you. I think that would be so tranquil and peaceful, and I love that idea. So overall, I am enjoying this book. I think it's going to end up being like a 3.75. Like on Goodreads, I probably will just rate it a 3-star. Depending how I feel towards the end, I might bump it up. I don't know. Like, I'm enjoying it, but her writing is a little more difficult to follow, and I'm not loving it as much as I wanted to. But like I said, I am still enjoying it. I'm going to finish it. But we will just see what happens at the end of the book with her and the fox. But this is the first one that I want to finish this month, September, for sure. But yes, that's the first one. The second one that I am going to, technically this is the one book that is on my TBR for September, and it is the Secret Book, there we go, Secret Book of Flora Lee by Patty Callahan Henry. The book club that I'm a part of, we are starting up again this fall / winter, and this is the first book that we picked to read. I'm not really sure what it's about totally. I wasn't able to be at the meeting when they decided, but I was able to at least vote, and I quickly looked it up on Goodreads, and it seems very interesting, and so this is the one I voted on, and it was almost unanimous for all of us to pick up this one. I'll just read this little blurb, I guess. When a woman stumbles across a mysterious children's book, long-held secrets about her missing sister and their childhood spent in the English countryside during World War II are revealed. So, it just sounded very interesting, so I'm hoping that I enjoy it. I need to get started reading it because I'm borrowing it from the library. But yes, this is the one book that I know I will try to get to in September. All of the rest are just books that I picked out, like I said, for some mood reading, to be able to choose from to read, especially to read over the fall beginning in September. I will probably end up picking up a lot of other books that are not in this list because I'm a mood reader, or maybe I will actually read every single one of these books. I don't know. We shall see. But the next one is this one, Looking for Anne by, what is her name? Irene Gamble. I'm gonna put the other, like, the actual cover here because when I purchased this book, the dust jacket was missing. I bought it used off of Amazon, and the dust cover is missing, unfortunately, but which I'm so sad about because look at that. It's so beautiful, and yeah, I was really sad about that. But this is one that I wanted to read in May from the Montgomery May readathon that Chantel did, but I never got around to it, but it just looks so interesting. It's all about how Lucy Maud Montgomery came up with the character of Anne, and I love Anne, and when I think of fall, I think of Anne of Green Gables, and so I'm just really interested in reading this book. So this one is definitely pretty high on the list of ones that I want to get to this fall. And speaking of Anne, I want to continue reading through the series. I only have 2 more books left in the series, and I'm so sad. This is the first time I'm reading through the entire series, and I'm just sad because it's almost over and I won't have that feeling of reading them for the first time. Ah! But it's okay. I'm a huge rereader, so I will always return to the Anne books and read them and love them all over again. It's just that first time feeling that I won't ever get again, which is kind of sad. Does anybody feel that? But anyway, the next one on the list is Rainbow Valley. I am excited to continue, and I'm hoping to pick this one up this fall as well, and possibly the last one of the series as well. I don't know, maybe I don't want to rush through it and finish it too quickly, but I will probably end up finishing it this fall, if not this winter, because yeah, I will only have one more after this one. So yes, when I think of fall, I think of like diving into mysteries for one, but also just like tomes, like the big thick books that are atmospheric or just take you to another world, or you know, classics. That's just kind of what I think of when I think of fall, sitting down with a cup of tea or coffee or something and just opening an old classic. Yes, that's what I'm thinking of. So I was looking over all of my classic books that I haven't read yet, and I was having a hard time deciding which one I wanted to pick up. I was wanting to read another Jane Austen, but I've read all of the Jane Austens that I have. And again, I don't want to buy too many more books right now, so I was like, you just have to pick out another one that you own. And so the one that caught my eye was Lorna Doone by, I only have his last name here. What is his name? Yeah, R.D. Blackmore. So I don't know much about this book, but I do remember several years ago coming across like a 3-episode show, something, mini series, I guess is what they're called, of the story Lorna Doone, and I really enjoyed it. And so when I discovered that there was a book, I was like, you gotta get it. So I don't remember much about the story, I just remember I enjoyed it. So this is one classic that I might pick up, but you can replace it with a lot of others that I have. I was kind of wanting to read some more of Louisa May Alcott's books that I haven't gotten to yet, and I was really wanting to reread Little Women. I have a few books on here that will be rereads, so I wasn't wanting to pick out too many, but I just might end up picking up Little Women again because I love that book. I think I've only read it twice, but I just want to read it again because that's also very atmospheric. I know it starts out more in the winter time, close to Christmas, but I don't know. I just love Little Women so much. So that might be another one that I end up picking up. We shall see. But again, I think I show this every time I talk about my fall TBR, but I'm still making my way through Sherlock Holmes series by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I'm not even halfway through this first volume, and there's a second one yet, just as thick as this one. So I am trying to make my way through these, but again, I usually only end up reading them in the fall because I like to read more mysteries, detective stories in the fall for some reason. But yes, I will be reading some more out of this, hopefully. Okay, so, oh goodness, I just have the whole stack here. This is the Chronicles of Narnia series. As I was looking over my junior mid-grade shelves, I was like, man, I want to get back into Narnia. I never completed the series. And I once owned the book that contains all of the books in one. And I started reading them there, and I think I'd also been like randomly borrowing books from people and reading them, so I have no idea what order I was reading them in, and I also couldn't quite remember which ones I read because it has been a while. I got cut off. I don't know where it stopped, but basically I don't remember which books I read for sure because I wasn't on Goodreads at the time when I was reading some of them, and instead of trying to figure out which ones I haven't read yet, I just decided to start over and hopefully read through the entire series this fall, because I just really want to get back into it. I absolutely love Chronicles of Narnia, and I do remember enjoying the books that I did read. I especially obviously love The Lion, the Witch and Wardrobe and The Horse and His Boy. I remember loving that one as well. But I know that there is this huge debate for all of the Narnia lovers about what order you should read them in. But I was watching a video today, and from the Commonplace homeschool channel. I had never seen any of her videos before, but when I searched on YouTube which order to read the books in, she convinced me of going in this particular order that I'm going to talk about. And I'll also link her video down below. And I immediately subscribed because she seems to be the type of person who loves the things that I love, and just some of the things I saw on her channel, I was like, I think I'm gonna really enjoy watching her videos. So yes, I'll link that down below. But this is the order that I'm hoping to read them in. It's obviously not gonna be in the order that this particular hardcover series is printed in, which is unfortunate. I might have to just take off all of the dust jackets and stack them in a... No, they still have the numbers on the actual books. But this is the order that I want to read them in. Starting with The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. You know, the classic when Lucy first discovers Narnia, when she goes through the wardrobe. Next would be Prince Caspian. And then The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, which these three are all of my kind of like favorites in a sense because of the movies. I watched the movies first as a child before I actually read the books. But I loved all of those stories, and yes, so I'm excited to like go into it in that order like the movies were. But yeah, that'll be fun. And then the next is The Silver Chair, The Horse and His Boy, The Magician's Nephew, and The Last Battle. So that is the order that I'm going to be reading them in, hopefully. And yeah, I'm really excited about diving into them, so I think I will for sure be able to read the entire series this fall. Man, this is actually getting me really excited to start reading again, because I've been in a massive slump. Obviously, I only read 3 books in August, so yeah, I'm definitely ready to get back into it. So the next couple ones are some Christian fiction, historical fiction, with a little bit of mystery to them. I was looking, like I said, I was going through all of my shelves, and as I was looking through my Christian fiction shelves, these were the ones that jumped out to me that I've really been wanting to read. So these are going on the list. And the first one is Shadows of Swanford Abbey by Julie Klassen. I've not read any of Julie Klassen's books yet. I don't think so anyway. Not that I recall. But this one, the short little note or whatever you call it at the top in the beginning before the synopsis says, Agatha Christie meets Jane Austen in this atmospheric Regency tale brimming with mystery, intrigue, and romance. So this one sounded really interesting, and again, it has that mystery element to it that I think is perfect for the fall. So yes, I'm excited to try this one out, see if I like Julie Klassen's books. And then the next one is another Regency romance, which I did not even mean to like have this theme going on of Regency romances. But it is Moonlight Masquerade by Ruth Axtell. I've never heard of this author before anywhere on, like, in the Christian booktube circles. Maybe I missed it somewhere. And I've also, like, I've never heard of her, and I've never read any of her books. But this is one that came through the thrift store that I thought looked very interesting. It is, I'll read the synopsis since it's fairly short. Lady Celine Wexham seems the model British subject. French by birth but enjoying life in 1813 as a widowed English countess, she is in the unique position of being able to help those in need or to spy for the notorious Napoleon Bonaparte. When Rhys Phillip of the British Foreign Office is sent to pose as the Countess's butler and discover where her true loyalties lie, he is confident he will uncover the truth. But the longer he is in her fashionable townhouse in London's West End, the more his staunch loyalty to the crown begins to waver as he falls under Lady Wexham's spell. Will he find the proof he needs? And if she is a spy after all, what then will he do? With sharp wit, fast-paced dialogue, and infectious intrigue, Ruth Axtell deftly creates a world where black and white burst into a confusion of colors, and no one is who they seem. So, again, this one has slight mystery vibes going on, so that one sounded really interesting. And one that I feel like I would really enjoy reading. Okay, this is another one that jumped out at me. It is Promise Me This by Kathy Golk. I have no idea how to pronounce that name. My apologies. But this one, the colors on it are very fallish, and so that's kind of what jumped out at me, the spine as well. Although it surrounds the story of Titanic, which happened in the spring, so, but I don't mind. It just still seemed very atmospheric in the sense of like the Titanic was a big deal. And I love the Titanic, anything to do with it, thanks to my husband mostly, because he is a Titanic nerd, I should say. He knows so many things and has watched all the documentaries, all of the movie adaptations, all the TV show adaptations, which I didn't even know there were until he started watching them. But he got me hooked on it as well. And so this book really jumped out at me when I first found it. I'll also read the synopsis here. Annie Allen never imagined the day she watched her brother Owen sail on the Titanic would be the last time she'd seen him. Nor could she guess how the tragedy would forever knit her life to Michael Dunnigan, who survived through Owen's sacrifice. As Annie struggles to navigate a challenging life in England, Michael labors in New Jersey to create the gardening business Owen once dreamed of and to heal Annie's grief through letters. In time, as Annie begins to lay aside her anger that Michael lived when her brother did not, a tentative friendship takes root and blossoms into something neither expected. Bound by a promise, yet battling circumstances beyond their control, Michael and Annie dream of the day she can join him in America. Just when Michael saves enough money for her passage, World War I erupts in Europe. Then Annie's letters mysteriously stop, forcing Michael to risk everything to find the woman he's grown to love before she's lost forever. So, I don't know how much of the Titanic will actually be involved in this. Obviously, it sounds more like the story is after the tragedy, but it still sounded very interesting, and yeah, this is the one of the few that jumped out at me that I was like, yeah, I definitely feel like I'm in the mood to read something like that. So that is the entire list. Goodness. Ugh, can I even lift it up? It's heavy. Look at this. It's a big stack. I can't even fit it all into the frame. Whew. Goodness. But yes, I'm actually really excited. Like I said, this is getting me excited to be reading again, diving back into it. I also mentioned the fact that next week is my last week of work, so I should have so much more time to read, and I'm so excited for that. I was trying to do a reading vlog last week, but every time on the days that I worked, I would come home, I was so exhausted. Pregnancy fatigue is real. Wow, I didn't realize how real it was, but I would come home, I was just so tired and want to take a nap. Was not in any mood to read because I was so tired, and when I get really tired, I don't feel great at all. And so I dropped the vlog. I didn't get much reading done at all, which is unfortunate, but I'm really hoping that after next week that I will get more into vlogging and reading, because I will be able to be at home more, I can rest more as well, and yeah, if that makes sense. But I think next week, since it is my last week, I will be bringing my final stack of books that I've set aside home, and we'll be doing a massive thrift store book haul. And I'm really excited about the things that I have found over the months that I've been working there. So I hope you guys will look forward to that as well, and will enjoy the massive spread of books that I'm bringing home. Yes, I'm really looking forward to it, so I hope you guys will enjoy it as well. But I think that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let me know what you're looking forward to reading the most this fall. I would love to hear more suggestions, things that I can also add to this pile of possibilities. But anyway, thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.